Welcome to Elementary. It's Monday and I have a different venue. Since the day was just absolutely gorgeous, I thought, hey, why not do the show outside while the weather's so good? So it was really hot today. The great part about it is it's still warm, but it just doesn't feel as hot as it was earlier today. So what I'm super excited about, and I'm so happy to share it, I am on a show tomorrow with CBC, and I'm super excited that I get to share and participate and answer questions that some of the sellers may have. Especially if you're looking to downsize in this market, there's a lot of anxiety around, should I stay, should I go, what should I do, what's best for me and my family. And so, but today's show is a little bit of, what should I say? A little bit of an advance on that piece, because I want to talk about the downsizing clock. Okay? It's when is the right time to make that move, and how will you know it, right? A lot of you kind of think, should I answer this survey? Should I ask questions? Like, what is it? How would I know if I'm ready? And if you don't already know, then hey, some of what I talk about today might help you out quite considerably with your downsizing gig. Now, the question keeps coming up all the time about downsizing. And this is what I say to people. You do not wait until your car breaks down. So if you know your car is going to have a problem, or your car has a problem, you don't wait till you're on the highway and your car breaks down to fix it. If you already know your car has a problem, you're going to fix it, right? So some of the things that people don't get is that, hey, when I am on this thought, should I downsize, should I stay or should I go? And quite frankly, it's a big question, especially when you get to a certain age. You're thinking, well, this home used to be the right home for me. However, somehow it doesn't feel like it still adds up, and perhaps you went on a budget when you bought the home. Perhaps you had kids and you wanted to be in a certain school area, or you wanted to be around family, or perhaps the kids were, they're no longer in school. So there's so many questions to ask, but really at the tail end of it, it comes down to you. What works for you? You see, I see a lot of people downsizing when it comes to a crisis. It's like death of a spouse, financial problems, health crisis. I've seen so many of my clients actually have to downsize because they've got into this area of their life where their health is suffering, and so therefore they don't have a choice. And sometimes it's so drastic and it comes on suddenly, and well, they settle, should I say. And I think the smartest people who are the ones who start before they're ready, right? If you start before you're ready, then technically you are kind of ready to roll. You've thought of all these different things. So I'm going to give you a few things to think about if you're thinking about downsizing. If you have any questions, I want to say it in advance, drop it in the comment section below, and I'll get to it. So like I said, most people wait till they're in the midst of an emergency so that they can think about downsizing, right? That's the bottom line. The other thing that happens is if you're downsizing in a rush, you're spending 30-40% more. And if you haven't really thought about this in advance, I find people stressed to the max, rushing, and not planning, not taking that time to plan for, let's say, for future stuff, like what do you want to get out of this, right? Most people don't even know where they want to go, how they want to move. Sometimes it's financial issues. Sometimes it's like this money that's caught up in that. It's the nest egg. And sometimes the nest egg is caught up in, it just caught up in a home, and perhaps, they're skimping on life because all of their money is in this home. And so a lot of times some of my clients will say, the best thing for me to do is take out my money, move it to, so that I can spend it, enjoy it, perhaps help kids or grandkids with their home purchase, go on trips that I probably didn't take. Unlike some of us, our parents grew up probably not taking the trips that they wanted to take when they were younger because they had budgets, so on and so forth. And so a lot of times this is a great time for them to do it, right? Now, when I'm talking about this stuff, I think people are mistaken. They think I'm just talking about seniors, but I'm not. I'm talking about people who are truly wanting to start living their lives. I'm seeing this whole, it started around the pandemic and it hasn't stopped. I'm seeing this whole group of people that really kind of have taken a different look on life. It's not seniors. It's really maybe the people that are empty nesters and almost empty nesters seniors, that class, right? 45 and above. And they've really kind of turned their minds to what is really important to them. Is it chasing that almighty dollar, or really getting down to brass tacks of what they want out of life, what they want the rest of their life to look like? I think we all get stuck in this rat race where we are like, I just have to hustle and I just have to do this, and when I retire, I'll take all those trips. And you retire and then you have health issues and you haven't seen half the world that you wanted to see. And so I think times are changing. I think people are realizing that less is more. And when I say less is more, it could mean less of whatever, less headache, less stress, more of the house they truly want, more of the life they truly want. And hey, I mean, look, I don't want to be morbid, but we're all going to go, and you can't take your money with you, but you can have the best life and take those memories wherever you go, right? So in saying that, is it a good time right now for seniors to sell their home? And let me tell you, it's never the perfect time. It's never the perfect time because you're always going to have something coming up. So let's say red light, green light, right? Let's play that. Green light, red light. Let's do green light first. So your home feels too big, too hard to maintain. This is green light. Let's do green light first. Like I said, your home feels too big and too hard to maintain. These are some clues for you to pick up on. You're spending weekends doing yard work instead of fun stuff. Property taxes are eating your budget alive. And these are really good ones for you to keep in mind, because most people, even when you're buying a home, I have to tell people, hey, the property tax on this property. Not everybody comes out and asks me, hey, what's the property tax on this property? Until you get hit with like a $500, $600, $700 bill, right? Each month. Now, if you're in a condo, it's a little different. It might be $2,000, $3,000, depending on where you buy a condo. But red light now, you're doing it because someone else thinks you should. That's something for you to pause and consider. The market is absolutely terrible. That's rare, but it happens. It all depends on what your goals are, really. And you haven't done any planning or any research. And the bottom line, the best time for you to decide it's time is when your circumstances doesn't predict it's time, right? It's the worst thing when someone else dictates to you that it's time to move just because you like health issues, you can't afford it, so on and so forth. Those are things that you can't predict for your move. And those are never good opportunities, right? So how long does the downsizing process takes? And I'll say buckle up. It isn't a weekend project. And I say this with a lot of love because, look, a lot of clients have been in their home quite a while, right? There's a planning phase that could be it could be a little while for the planning phase, and then there could be the decluttering phase where, hey, I see an organizer, has actually joined us as well. But there's the decluttering phase. I actually would, for some of my clients, I actually send them an organizer to help them out get through that hard part, because I am a done for you service, right? We make life as easy as possible. Like, there's really no stress when it comes down to what I offer, because I don't need the stress, and why would you? So and then there's the moving and the settling in stage, the finding of the new property, the whole nine yards. Technically, I would say to you, like, a lot of times we get a call and people are like, hey, you want to come list my house? And technically, it's really not the best time, because a lot of those calls means they have a lot of stuff and they still haven't decluttered yet. They haven't thought about the most important questions. But a lot of times people sit on things so long. I have actually a client who every time her husband has a fall, she calls me. She's like, yeah, I think this is going to be it. But then he gets better and they go back to being in the house. And I feel so sad for them. They're feeling it's so hard for them to give up that house. But they're literally like trapped in a house. They have memories. They have a lot of memories with their kids growing up in there. They've been in the home a long time. They know their neighbors. They have great neighbors. And now some of them have moved away. Some of them have passed away. But still, it's hard to do that piece. And that's something that what nobody will tell you. It's the hardest piece that I help my clients with. It by far is the hardest piece. And I tell them it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. and it's okay to mourn about that, but you have to see beyond, right? So when it comes down to planning, like I said, the golden rule around that is you have your health, you can make clear decisions, you have time to do it. So it's a good time to really kind of start. Not everyone does it. Not everyone says, hey, let me call someone in. Someone that I'm totally comfortable with working with them. And I'll say to you, research who you work with. Don't just work with anyone. Because look, we're all not made to work with everyone. There are some people that will drive you totally insane. Like, I'm talking about you as a home seller. You want to make sure whoever you're working with, you can trust, has good integrity, and everything else will fall into place. Like, if you can't trust them, if you don't do your homework, you pick the wrong people, you get scammed, then it's on you, right? But it's your biggest asset, and you do not want to leave money on the table, and therefore you should pick someone who can help you. But the one thing I would say to, if you're planning, you have to remember the financial piece. This is the money that is going to sustain you into your golden years. This is the money that's going to help you live like a queen, working into those golden years. And it is best to kind of figure out what are the best financial outcomes. How do you structure that money? How do you deal with it so that it will continue to produce income for you? So as you get older, you are able to pay for the care you need for yourself, that you are able to afford the care that you need for yourself. So a lot of my clients, we look at obviously smaller bungalows, but then you also know that they come with yards that you have to maintain. But you can always outsource that and ask someone to do it for you, like pay to get it done. Or some of my clients are ready for condo living, and some of them are a little reluctant, but once they start, they're like, oh my, I should have considered this sooner, especially if you're looking for lifestyle. Not every condo offers lifestyle, but if you are, there are some really good condos that offer great amenities, and you are going to use it, so why not? I mean, you're retired, so why not be at the pool and be at the hot tub and be at the sauna and the gym? Why not use it? Use it when everyone else is at work. But those are the things that you have to decide. And then the one other feature that some of my other clients are who are not ready to totally lose the space are getting into homes with elevators. So even though they're trading a home, a large home, some of them are looking for maybe a large home, but not so small, but with an elevator. So when they do get old, so if you're on the younger side, even though it may not look like a total downsize, you're actually getting stuff that when you do get to that age, you don't have to worry because the home has an elevator. So it can take care of those arrangements. So, yeah, so look, I have a lot of resources. If you're looking to downsize, drop into my DMs. And I have a lot of resources for you. I have a guide, I have a quiz, we have a chat. It doesn't mean you have to downsize today. Look, there are times I talk more people out of downsizing and moving because it's not really the right time for them. It's not going to make what they want to happen. And that's my job. My job is not to take advantage of people. My job is to actually be able to have people's wishes come true, like in a sense, not like, hey, if you can't trade and expect me to work miracles. I don't have that brew happening, but I do want to say that, we want to make sure that we can be realistic about what exactly you're looking for and what you're planning to do. Sometimes I have people come to me with, they want to get rid of their mortgage, and that's something that they want to do. And so that's what we work on. We work on the steps they need to take, how we can get them. We give them a couple of different options, and then they decide what option they want to take and how they want to move forward with that piece. So there are so many things that you can think about. There's so many things that you can do in order to figure out, hey, is now the right time for me? Perhaps it's not the right time for you to move. Perhaps it's a time for you to, plan, and maybe the right time will be in a couple of years. I don't have a crystal ball, and nobody does. And that's where I think most people get it wrong, because they somehow feel that people should be able to tell them exactly. A few years ago at COVID, everyone thought things were going to shut down totally. And while they did, real estate just got out of control crazy. And today we're seeing a different issue. Today I'm seeing an issue where the smart ones are taking advantage of the market, right? I have a few people who were desperately looking. And I will say this, FOMO is real. FOMO is real. The people who were looking and had tight budgets that were getting outbid, now is the perfect time. You can have the pick of whatever condo you want out there in an area you would probably not be able to afford like a couple of years ago, even a year ago or 2 years ago. But now you can have the pick that you want, and yet for all I feel people are getting so scared. And I always say to people, look, you have to do what's right for you. I can't tell you what's right for you. You have to be okay with what's right for you. But the other reason is you also have to take help from people who you trust, people who have your back. And if you're buying your largest asset and you just decided to go with whoever and you're untrusting of them, then that's on you. If you don't ask the right questions, that's on you. If you're not satisfied, that's on you, because it's your asset, right? So this is my piece about my segment on downsizes. I do want to talk about where the market is today and what I'm seeing. And there's a bit of mixture, like there is a bit of a mix. But what I will say is, what I'm super excited about is that I'm going to be on CBC on a show tomorrow. No, not tomorrow, the next day. Anyways, this week. And I am super excited, and hopefully I'm not quite sure if I'll get to share any of that stuff with you. I hope I can, and if I can, I will for sure. But downsizing has taken front and center, really. And in saying that, I'll tell you, I was featured in the Toronto Star as well as the Global Mail about downsizing because it has become such a hot topic. So it's real. Like, it's real. Like, a lot of people have a lot of questions, And you're doing a little bit of an Instagram show is not going to be able to answer your specific questions, right? So, so giving you an update on the market, where do I see the market? The market is a little kind of wonky. It's, but it is picking up. I can tell just from the numbers and how many people are getting active, even from my website, and people coming back and looking at properties. I can tell what sort of activity I'm seeing. So there is a little bit more of an interest for people to start picking up and looking at properties, at least looking at where they stand in the market. Now, I think there's going to be, so there's a couple of different issues. I know people get so worried, oh, I don't want to live in a condo. Well, if a condo is all you can afford, where are you living right now if you're renting? Are you renting a house? Are you renting a house and sharing it with other people? Like, what are you living in? So if you're living in a condo or you're living in an apartment building, then what's the difference? You can own it. You can pay for your own mortgage, and you can get ahead when the market is a little slow. If you want a little house, those ones are a little harder because there's a lot of demand for little houses. But there are also a lot of freehold townhouses that are now, at one point the freehold townhouses, it's a hot market for freehold townhouses. And in some areas, while they were raging over $1 million, right now you can get them like anywhere between, some places even 6 something, but 7, depending on which area you want, right? If you're looking in the heart of Toronto, they're a little bit more expensive. They're also tinier, a little different, depending on which area of Toronto. So the one thing I'll say to you is that the market is the market, and you have to live somewhere, and you have to decide for yourself by doing the correct research, asking the right questions. Is this the market for you? If I know it's hard out there because a lot of people are finding it tough with everything that's going on. Everything is so expensive, but life is expensive, and you still have to live somewhere. So I'm also finding people getting a little kind of weirded out with rentals where the new owner buys it, now they're out of a home, now they have to go look for a home. Now, if you're moving into a brand new rental and the owner decides, well, I'm going to sell it next year, okay, fine, you can stay in the home. New owners come in, they say, hey, I want vacant possession because I want to live in it, or my kids want to live in it. Then you have to move. And so you just moved a year prior, and now you're moving again. That's costing you money. And you have to find another place. And it may be the same amount, it may be more, depending on when you got the rental. So at the tail end of it, if you are paying an amount that technically would be a mortgage amount, then perhaps you should consider, you should definitely consider paying your own mortgage if you can afford it. But when people ask me the question, is now a good time? It really depends on what you're hoping to achieve and what you're looking to get out of it. Now, we are seeing a lot of power of sales come on. A lot of, like, we haven't seen this in like years. But people kind of ask, what's the issue? Why do we have this huge amount of condos and no one is buying it? And really what it comes down to is I don't think we have a crisis because we have so many vacant properties. How do you have a crisis? But really it's cyclical, right? If people, it really comes down to some people saying, hey, it's an affordability issue. Some saying, well, I kind of want a certain lifestyle. So I think you have to kind of decide really at the tail end of it. If you ask some of your parents, so maybe they bought their house for very little, they'll tell you that they skimped and they budgeted and they really put aside money for everything in order to make those numbers work for them, right? And sometimes it's a matter of what you're willing to give up or what you're willing to, maybe not give up fully, but what you're willing to spend less on. But the market is, there are some really good deals to be had. When people ask me what the issue with the market is, one of the things I say to them, look, if people are not buying the condos of today, then the only people that are going to buy it are not even the mom and pop investors. A lot of people are hating on the mom and pop investors, but really, are they really the problem? The main problem is really the big global investors, the ones who have these big companies that buy off all these properties, that will want to buy off properties at a discounted rate because no one else is buying them. And then what happens is, in turn, they are buying these properties and renting them to people. So, and they're really taking away from home ownership. So it just becomes more and more and more expensive. And people say, hey, this foreign buyers ban, why are we doing that? But that's like, if people who live here can't afford to buy a home, opening them up to foreigners, which is great that they want to invest in our country, but it really doesn't resolve our issue. So I think this is a cyclical issue. It's not just one issue. And I think it's just going to go on because we're chasing our tail to resolve the problem, technically. And I always say when government gets involved in housing, it just makes it worse because they're not going to make it any better. You see, they're got their handout, like the best of them. Every city has the handout because that's where they make their money. The city of Toronto, for example, double land transfer. But right now, they're going to be hurting because if nobody's buying and no one's transferring and no one's buying the brand new properties, then they're really not getting the money that they had hoped for. So it is a huge topic, and I'm trying to be sensitive to the issue as I talk about it, because everyone, depending on what shoe you're wearing, will hurt a little different. But having said that, I want to say thank you so much for joining me today during your dinner hour. But I thank you so much for joining. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jacqueline Watson. I'm a realtor with Sutton Group Tower in Toronto. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a DM and I'll get back to you. I am responsive, so I will get back to you. Anyhow, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Bye.